G'day, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Craig Cobb. I'm a trader of 20 years from the Grow Me Co. I'm taking you through this course of trading indicators. And if you like my content, trading content, give me a subscribe and turn on those notifications. Okay, so we've looked at price action. We've looked at a whole bunch of things. And as you can see, we continue to layer things on top. Well, now we're going to come in. I'm going to talk to you about the indicator that I use. It's called the MACD. Yeah, the Mac of all daddies. So look, there's so many indicators that people have on charts. And as you'll see throughout this series here on YouTube, it's really important to understand that, look, less is more when it comes to clarity. You know, understanding your craft doesn't mean you need to understand or use every single tool available to you. And like I've given as an example already, you know, just because you've got a pantry with 2,000 ingredients doesn't mean you need to use them all. And if you're an amateur chef or you've not cooked a souffle before and you're thrown into a kitchen with 2,000 ingredients, what you need is a recipe to bake that souffle. You don't need 2,000 ingredients. What I'm doing is, well, what you're doing by looking at the market is being that chef. What I'm doing is providing you with a recipe for which you can then go ahead and execute some trades with a bit more clarity. So we're going to just focus on the indicators that I actually use. Of course, I use the moving averages there as well, which I've spoken to already. That is the 10 and 20 period moving averages. But what I want to go into now is what we use and how we actually use it when it comes to indicators. All right, so first things first, it's momentum. Let's just make this very, very clear. Again, an understanding of what is as opposed to, you know, all the different bits and bobs is really important. We measure momentum in different forms. We've got the trend, of course, you know, we're looking at what the trend does. We've got the moving averages. These are two measures of momentum. Trend showing us with higher lows and higher highs that we've got momentum to the upside. If the moving average is in the correct order, we've got momentum to the upside. These are momentum indicators. What we also go ahead and do is we have the confirmation of that momentum by using one particular ingredient. Now, I use the MACD and I never, ever, ever have an indicator tell me when I should trade. An indicator, the MACD will never get me into a trade and it will never take me out of a trade. What it will do is it will help me to measure against things like the moving averages and the structure of the trend, the price action itself, because remember, price action's king. And what I'll do is if the MACD is diverging or not converging, I will stay out of a trade. So the final ingredient, so to speak, when it comes to, you know, coming to a trade, one of the things that will keep me out of a trade, aside from, you know, not having other ingredients met, is if we have not got convergence with the trend. And it's a very simple thing, guys. You want to have price, you want to have the MACD agreeing with the price. That's it. And the whole purpose of everything that I'm teaching you here, everything that I teach in my complete course and my Discord community and whatnot, it's a process of elimination. Now, I'm not on a quest to find lots and lots of trades every day. I'm on a quest to find really high probability trades where I feel very confident that I'm at least going to get my first target hit, which means that I go to risk free. Okay. I'm scaling out of a position, closing half of the position when it hits my first target, leaving the stop loss where it needs to be. So it's still technically sound as a trade. I'm not changing anything. And then I'm in that trade risk free. So my objective is to find high probability outcomes. And this is why this layered approach, having many different things that read more or less a similar type of story, but they're giving us a confirmation to go ahead and take a trade. When I'm looking for trades, I'm actually not looking for trades. I'm looking for what I don't want to touch. And when I find things that simply meet the rules absolutely, well, then it's very easy for me to take that trade. Notice the difference in mindset. If you go looking for something, you'll likely find it. If you're just going, I'm just going to go through a process of elimination in my funnel, go all the pairs, and then I go through my checklist. Nope. Oh, there's 4 there that look really, really good. Now I've got no reason not to take those 4 trades, so therefore I will. So back to the MACD, the settings that we use is very simple. It is straight out of the box. The 12, 26, and 9 is the settings that we use there. I do take a few things away, as you'll note on this chart down here. On this chart in front of you, that's my MACD line. I only use the MACD line. I'll show you how to do that once I've gone through this part. I'll show it to you in the real charts and how to actually take away these things to make it very, very clear. But in my trading career, I've taken a lot away from my charts. I used to have the CCI, stochastic, RSI, MACD. Okay, they were my 4 indicators that were down the bottom of my chart, and you can see I've only got 1 here now. And the reason the reason I got rid of them because they were more or less all telling me the same sort of thing. I realized that. I also had the 10, 20 period moving averages, which I've shown you, and the 50 and the 200. And the reason I take things away is that if they're not aiding a decision, then they're a waste of time. They're a waste of energy. They're a waste of headspace. They're a waste. My objective is to trade and make money. It's not to be all day staring at a chart. I love my fishing. I love the outdoors. I love living my life. And I'll tell you right now, there's a billion things I'd rather be doing than sitting in front of charts all day. It's sitting in front of computers. I like my trading, don't get me wrong, but I don't need to be sitting there all day. So an efficiency of time is what drove me to remove things from my chart so I can be efficient, effective, and have absolute clarity in my decision-making processes. And it's made a bloody big difference, eh? It's really been fantastic. So one thing I want you to remember is this. You've got people that will tell you that an indicator is overbought or it's oversold or these lines have crossed on the indicator and it means X, Y, Z, da-da-da-da-da. What you've got to remember, and this is why I don't use indicators as a buy or a sell signal, is that price always comes first. And you'll hear me repeat that over and over, and you have heard me repeat it already, because price is the most important thing. It's price measured by time. It's real, okay? And everything else that you see on a chart is a secondary measure of price. The MACD, secondary measure of price. The moving average, secondary measure of price. Stochastics, RSI, CCI, anything, any indicator that you put on your chart would not exist without price first. So every decision for me is around price first. Everything else is a derivative of price. So just understand that. The MACD would not exist without price. The price would exist without the MACD. Keep that very close to your heart and your head because that's the truth. So what I'm looking to do here is cancel out the histogram and cancel out the signal line. I only use the MACD line, and in just a moment, I'll show you exactly how you too can go ahead and do that. The whole point of the MACD is really to just confirm the trend. So if I've got an uptrend, right? Here we have an uptrend. We've got, higher highs and a higher low. Yeah, higher high. And there's our higher low. So we've got an uptrend with a higher high and a higher low. Now, what I want the MACD to be doing is simply exactly the same. I'll say that again. What I want my MACD to be doing is exactly the same. There's my MACD down there. Here's my chart, right? If price is making a higher high, which it has done, I want the MACD to be doing the same. And let me make it very clear. If you're taking any notes, write this down. I want my MACD to agree with price. The reason I said it so clearly that way is that I'm not looking for price to agree with MACD. The price comes first. So the MACD has to agree with price. Price is the king or queen. Yeah? Price is the Mac Daddy. The MACD, sounds like it should be the Mac Daddy. The MACD is a confirmation to go, tip of the hat, sir. Yes, absolutely. I agree with you. Yep, that's it. We want to have momentum. This is another momentum indicator. It's another sign of momentum. We've got trend, we've got price, we've got moving averages, and now we're using the MACD as a measure of momentum. So I want my MACD to be agreeing with my price. If my price is making higher highs, I want the MACD to be doing the same. Now, if I've got a downtrend, I want my MACD to be making lower lows if price is making lower lows. Okay. At the end of the day, we want MACD to be in agreement with our trend. Do not overcomplicate it more than that. It really does not need to be more complicated than that because it is not more complicated than that. Let me give you an example with this chart right now. Then I will take you into the market and I'll show you some examples. And I will also show you how you can eliminate the histogram and the signal line from your MACD on TradingView. And whether you use something else than TradingView, it doesn't really matter. All charts will more or less have a settings tab where you can remove those things that I will remove. And show you. Okay, so here's the example that I wanted to show you. As price moves to higher highs, let's look here. Here is a high. Okay, we've moved to a high. Of course, forget all this for the time being. All right? What we're doing is we're comparing high to high. So it's the most recent high to high, by the way. The high over here has no bearing on the high over here because there is one in the middle here. So it's the last two highs in an uptrend, which is, let me say it again, here's a high right here. Here's a high. right here. So higher high in price, we go da, 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 and I say da, 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 because we're using our crosshair on your trading view charts. Ba, 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 here we are. That is where the high was. And then we go, da, 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 da. Oh, okay. Now, it's very simple as a visual. Price has made a higher high. Has the MACD made a higher high? Well, clearly it has. End of story. Trends convergent, not showing any signs of weakness. I am now open to be taking a long trade on a chart that looks like this. This means we're converging. It's very, very simple. Both the indicator, so both price action and the indicators are both in agreement. In a downtrend, it's the exact same thing. And the reason I don't have a slide for that is because I'm going to show it to you in the real market as we have some downtrends available right now. So let me do that. Okay, so here we are in the market right now. All right. What am I doing? Okay, first things first. Let me just throw this up. See this? This is my chart. This is my moving averages. It's black. Why is it black, not white? Because when it's black, it doesn't hurt my eyes as much, and I do spend time looking at charts. So you come down here, notice this little cog down this bottom left-hand side. I hit settings. It opens it up. Now, this is how it typically looks, okay? If you just get it out of the box, you will have a MACD that looks something like that, all right? And you'll have, it looks like that, right? It's all over the place. Oops, sorry. Where did that go? Down here. There you go. All right, that's not what I really wanted. I want it down the bottom. That's how your MACD would look, all right? So I've blown this up nice and big so you can see exactly what we don't want. So for here, you've got, see this MACD, how it changes from red to green, then back to red, then back to green, and we've got all these lines crossing over and doing all of this. None of that matters to me. I don't care about any of that. It means nothing to me. So if it means nothing to me, all it does is stand in the way of me having clarity. I want clarity, and that's where I'm going to get it. I'm going to get it from having my MACD signal line nice and clear. Now, I don't know what I've done there. I've accidentally gotten rid of it altogether. I'll find that later. But anyway, back to the example. So what you do is if you don't want to have it like that, let me just do this. So put it back like this. Histogram and signal line. All you have to do is remove the two. See how it goes from this messy chart here. That's what I wanted in the first place. You just take away the signal line. You take away the histogram and you hit OK. And that's it. Now you're left with one single line, and that one single line, not signal line, single line is all that we need. Now in this example, I'm showing you a downtrend because, well, AVAX right now is in a downtrend. So what I've got to look at is this. There's our low. Here's our new lower low. So from here with the crosshair, hold it over that candle. So see where it coincides with the MACD? Right there. Well, if price has made a new lower low, I'll hold it over the candle with the lower low. I'm comparing this low to where price is now. And it's damn sight lower, isn't it? Yes, it is convergent. This chart is convergent. This market is convergent, which means that my trend is my MACD, is in agreement with my trend. They are in agreement. And it's a matter of just when you do your scan, when you look through the market, you're looking to see, here's a lower low, here's a low, here's a lower low, low to low, it's convergent. Okay, now as you see here, look, what we don't want is what we've got right here. Here's our low, here's our lower low, but only just, but it is a lower low. Notice how from low to low, price has made a new lower low, but the MACD hasn't. That is not what we want. Now to show you in an uptrend scenario as well, I want to just bring this up on Bitcoin, because this is a long example. This is a macro position, or a macro picture, I should say, is a monthly chart. And don't forget, the way that I trade, the way that I read a market, it doesn't matter if it's the 1 minute or the 1 month. You read the market exactly the same. These are robust ways of trading, and they're effective in any market. So look, what we've got is a higher, lower, higher, 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 lower, higher, high. The monthly chart is in a monthly uptrend on Bitcoin. Each time it pulls back into these moving averages, as I've taught you already, we get this bullish candle, we move higher, okay? Now, it doesn't mean it's going to work forever, okay? But it has this time, and hopefully it does again this time. How do I have a bit more confidence in this monthly trend? Well, the things that I'm looking at is if it breaks that level there, what changes? Well, if it breaks that level there, then my monthly trend goes from a higher high and higher low to a higher high and a lower low, i.e. there's no trend there. So that would be a reason for me to make a decision about what to do. But right now, from this high to this high here, my MACD, there's the high coinciding with the price. And as price made a new higher high, the MACD has as well. Now this signals to me, not that the price is going to go higher, not that the price is going to go lower. It signifies to me that my trend and MACD are both in agreement. There is no signs of weakness that are visibly available to me as a trader that trades along these methodologies. So using MACD as a reason to stay out of a position or to not buy into a market is the only way I use it. And I believe that you should consider that in your trading as well. Of course, as we go through each of these chapters, you're getting a little bit more knowledge to help you to understand and build out your own trading strategy to trade the markets. Guys, don't forget this is brought to you by BloFin. The link to open up your account is below in the description, and you'll also have order videos on how to go long and how to go short, how to manage your risk on this platform as well. Give us a like and subscribe. Any questions you have, ask in the comments. I hope you have a ripper day. I'll move on to the next chapter. Bye for now.